It's a mix of some everyday, drama or like the story, like her everyday life, and then, you know, the supernatural elements that are like part of her universe, but not, but on a periphery, and then like they get closer and closer as Vura comes into her life, and and their love story shapes. And this is basically like the movement of the movie, and then there are like many other elements. It's like I think people have this fetish for like genres, like, so what genre is this and what genre is that, and which is understandable. It's like they want to sell the movie, or they want to finance the movie, or they want to, they want to know what they're doing. But for me, it's part of the idea of making such a movie is to not really care about what genre this is or what genre it's not. I think Border has, it turned out very faithful to, like, in the tone to what I see, like how I see the world, like how I, because I really like, reality as it is. I really like its messiness, its brutality, its, stupidity, its banality. Also, it's being poetic and being, sublime and everything. But I don't like it. I don't like one single element, taken out of context. Like, for example, I really have difficult time with movies that try to be poetic, because for me, they take away other elements that for me makes, I would rather see a YouTube clip than see I don't know, like a Terrence Malick movie, So because I for me, a random YouTube clip is a more representative of the kind of reality that I'm interested in. Not that the one is better or worse. So in that way, I think Border turned out to have those, mixture of those elements. The interesting thing with being an outsider is that nobody is really an insider. When you think about it, like, everybody see themselves at least as outsiders. I mean, I think Donald Trump sees himself as an outsider in White House. Barack Obama did the same. George W. Bush did the same. His father did the same for different reasons. I would see myself as an outsider in cinema world. I think, Werner Herzog would also argue that he's an outsider. It's like Spielberg would, I think in, like, no matter what position you are, who you are, you always find a way of, because I think it's really hard for us to define ourselves based on like a collective, idea of, oh, I'm part of this group. So in that sense, it's actually a very universal, theme. I'm born and raised in Iran, and I came to Europe when I was like around 2021. And funny enough, I think I have had a very, like, culturally very European upbringing. I started as a writer, and it's like, and I read a lot of Kafka, and I read about James Joyce, and Albert Camus, and Marguerite Duras. A lot of, not to name drop everybody, but also with movies, I think that I'm much more European in my taste and my references than many Europeans are. If it wasn't for Europe and Japan, then the world's architecture would look very different. And you could argue the same with the movies. But, and here's a very important but, right now we're at this point where I think there's something, I think European cinema is in stagnation for me. Like, culturally, I think we really have to be relevant again. And it's a very serious situation. As I said, why and how, I don't know. But I do sense the situation.